In Britain, the mountains may not be high, but they can be steep. Constitution Hill in Swansea almost brought the Russian rider Evgeny Berzan to a standstill on day 2 of the Kellogg's Tour of Britain. Phil Anderson, the race leader, suffered, but more than just survived on the climb as the field closed in. He finished 5th and kept his lead of 4 seconds overall. And that's the gap ahead of Vladimir Belly in 2nd place. Beau-André Nambent is 8 seconds back 3rd. Heinz Imberden is 4th. And Francois Le Marchand is 5th. And the crowds in Swansea yesterday were treated to some superb racing. We've moved now further along the coast to Newport. The riders now facing up to their longest stage to Coventry. And as you can see, the weather conditions somewhat bleak. The riders facing heavy rain on the 124 miles ride. The high spot of the day is Cleave Hill, and then they finish with 3 small circuits of the city of Coventry. Now, the riders here are professionals. There's no question of this stage being cancelled, and at least it's good to see they've kept their sense of humour this morning, as Paul Shewing finds out with the Dane Jesper Skibby.
Well, Jesper, yesterday you told me you love racing in Great Britain.
Yeah, but that was yesterday. Now it's not racing, it's more swimming, I think.
It's going to be a hard day for everybody on a race like this with the rain coming down.
Yeah, but you know, then you don't have to drink anything, you know, just open your mouth like this.
What else? It's a special day today for somebody.
Oh yeah, congratulations with Phil Liggett's 50 years birthday.
Well, who cued him in on that one? Because I certainly didn't. Thank you, Jesper. And this is the extraordinary Newport clock, which is collapsing to the chimes of 10 o'clock, as the riders now prepare to roll away from Newport, and the clouds are still very much indeed grey. And just look at this, the riders themselves have never seen anything quite like this, and I must say neither have we either. Magnificent example of a newly commissioned piece of public art. So the rollout away from Newport, and sadly in the rain, and Sean Yates here leading the field. Well, Paul, this is the longest stage, and the riders, I would think, are contemplating a very, very difficult ride indeed.
Well, most certainly you can see it's very slippy out there on the start as they leave the shopping centre at the centre of Newport there. But the racing conditions for the day, well, obviously you can see there's heavy rain here this morning, but the strong winds, the tailwind that the riders will have for most of the day will clear up as we get to the later part of the afternoon, and a high of 15 degrees centigrade, so it won't be too bad.
And immediately in the opening mile, an attack coming here. Christophe Capel in the lead, Wayne Randall in the blue, followed by Hendrik Redant, and at the back there is Bernie Burns. 4 riders anxious to get warm very, very quickly. And this is the chase being started by the La William team. Patrick Robit is also chasing. I'm not too sure quite why the La William team have decided to open up the chase here, Paul.
Well, I think Rudy Pevenage reads that with a big tailwind today, there's a possibility that a break would stay away, and these 4 riders have gone clear, but they're really suffering on the climb of Beacon Ash.
Well, this is a very narrow road indeed, and the rain has made it very treacherous. There's lots of holes of grit, and they'll have to watch out for punctures. Alan Piper's our man at the front.
It's blowing a gale out here, and the rain keeps coming down intermittently. Once it gets down to skin level, the wind chill factor will freeze you. But still, these guys keep racing. There's 4 riders ahead, and the William are helping Motorola keep it all together for Phil Anderson. Maybe later on in the stage, when everyone starts to crack because of the cold, things will change.
And I can tell you, Alan, they have changed, because on the climb they have been caught, those 4 riders, and this is the lone figure now, Evgeny Berzan, the Russian rider, who took the lead in the King of the Mountains yesterday after those 3 climbs of Constitution Hill, and he's got a nice lead on this opening climb of the day.
Well, he really has gone away, and what courage after that breakaway of yesterday. And it not only is it a consolation prize, but a lot of people respect the King of the Mountains competition, and here he's going to go over the top, I think, and take maximum points.
And he comes up to the summit, a nice little cheer from the small crowd, getting drowned in the rain here. But there's plenty of this type of weather in Russia as well. Thierry Claverola, a real King of the Mountains in the Tour de France a couple of years ago, and he comes up in 2nd place, going on the attack by the look of it. And there's the confirmation, the 10 points for Berzan, Claverola, Sean Yates climbing well there, 3rd place, Phil Anderson in the yellow jersey in 4th place. Now let's join Berzan again, who's keeping the tempo going. And just take a look at his sunglasses there. He's got clear lenses on, because to keep the mud out of his eyes, I suspect. And gone past him is Thierry Claverola and not waited for him.
Well, Claverola went straight past Berzin. I think all Berzin was thinking about was getting maximum points in the King of the Mountains competition. But Claverola's obviously got something else up his sleeve, and he really would like to try and get away. I think to save the Tour de France that the Gann team had this year, because they really have had a disastrous Tour de France.
So Claverola hoping perhaps that somebody will join him, and it looks as though they are, because this is Peter Farazin coming up. We've seen him on the attack before this week, and now he joins the front again. Claverola takes a good look at him, obviously says something to him, and they've decided to work together and see what happens. This is Farazin. He's turning out to be a very aggressive rider in this year's Kellogg's Tour of Britain, and they got their stage win yesterday. The Lotto team is third baggage down in Kingsway in Swansea, and now he's concentrating because it's absolutely pouring down here. So we've got two leaders. Let's have a look back down the road and see what we can see. There's the gap, and it looks as though they may well have got away. They have an awful long way to go to the finish in Coventry. It's something like 103 miles. There is one rider chasing, Paul, and then the gap goes down to the main field. But you know, that main field is a lot smaller. They've split up on the climb of Beacon Ash.
They definitely did split on the climb of Beacon Ash, and I don't think they're too worried about the riders in the front at the moment. And this is the third rider coming up now, and it looks to me as if it's Dagot or Lauritsen. So if the three of them can get together, they've got a good move to go here. They've got a tailwind, and I think the Motorola team behind will just set a tempo and let this break have its freedom.
And Dagot Lauritsen, the former Norwegian policeman from Oslo, now a professional with the TVM team. He's come on to the back. Let's go back and have a look what's happening. Here's Maurizio Fondriest of the Lamprey team. The Motorola boys in blue are greatly in evidence. And there is the yellow jersey, just about see it, on Phil Anderson.
Well, you can see by the way the race is at the moment that there's no chase on here. Fondriest looking across to see what the situation. The Motorola team not worried about these three riders at all, and they really are going for it. Thierry Claverola at the front here, putting the pressure on, but Lauritsen looks to be suffering a little bit at the back there, but the three of them have got a good move going. That's 2 minutes and 10 seconds at the moment, so they really are going clear.
And Thierry Claverola taking the 4 points at the top of Cinderford Hill, and it looks like he's now settling in at the three of them for a long day in the saddle. The Motorola boys in blue, and they're escorting the rider in green there. That is Vladimir Belli, who is second overall in this race, and they're keeping him nicely in the centre of the hard-working group. Now the leaders are heading down into the city of Gloucester, and the weather is beginning to look a little less wet. There's a sprint here with a small time bonus on it indeed for the first three riders, 3 seconds for the win, and I think this will be rather pleasing to Phil Anderson, because three riders here, all more than 10 minutes behind Anderson. This sprint won't affect the overall position.
Definitely not, as we see Dagot Lauritsen coming up to the sprint there and taking it. These riders not actually contesting the sprint. Lauritsen going over in first place, Thierry Claverola in second, and Farazin in third place.
Now heading away from Gloucester and on to the steep climb of the day, Cleave Hill. This really is a very steep hill. It's a narrow road as well. And Thierry Claverola, well, he's climbed the big mountains like the Col de Tourmalet, the Col de Galibier in the Tour de France. They're 12 miles high, but he climbs them just as well when they're only small. And the gap is still growing here, and Claverola is the man keeping the rhythm. Dagot may find it a little bit more difficult, although he's won a stage of the Tour de France in the Pyrenees at Louzard-Didon a few years ago. Peter Farazin, well, he's a new professional and doesn't know a lot about the experience of these two.
Well, I don't think he'll have to worry about that error he made the other day when he left Henrik Redant behind, because these two riders are very experienced riders, Claverola and Dagot Lauritsen, and I'm sure that they'll keep together over the top of this climb and carry on working together to consolidate that lead they've got at the moment.
And here's Max Chiandri of the Motorola team, last year's winner, by the way, at the Kellogg's Tour of Britain, this year having to defend for the new leader on the team, Phil Anderson. He's setting the pace. Now, I would imagine, Paul, the tactics here are not to chase these three down, but to try and limit their gains.
Well, these three riders aren't a worry at the moment, because they're all over 10 minutes behind in the overall classification. So I feel that the Motorola tactic today will just be to ride a good tempo to make sure this break doesn't approach the 10-minute margin.
Now, as they come over the summit, nobody challenging Thierry Claverola, who's gaining a few King of the Mountains points today. He's over there in first place. This is the main field lower down the slopes. They've only just begun the climb. And now it looks like Maurizio Fondriest and Belli are turning out to be quite powerful riders at the front here as well.
I think Vladimir Belli is going to launch an attack one of these days, and it may well be on the stage to Manchester, because it's quite difficult when we go over those Pennines on the way through to Macclesfield and then down into Manchester town centre, and that may be what he's waiting for, but he'll look all the time for a sign of weakness to come from Phil Anderson, because he's an excellent climber.
Well, if you look back over the 7 years of Kellogg's Tours of Britain, in fact, the biggest winning margin has only been 18 seconds. So they've got to watch for a mistake, and they'll keep an eye on Phil Anderson on the far left of our picture there to make a mistake. The two Italians here on the front, Max Chiandri on the left and Belli, but look at the chaos at the back here. This is Christophe Capel in the white, who is in that very early move in the opening mile. And number 12 on the far right is Marco Zen, the teammate of Vladimir Belli. And in fact, it is Belli at the front here who is hurting his own teammate at the back.
He takes a look over his shoulder again. All the time he wants to know where Phil Anderson is. He accelerates to the top of the climb. He wants to get points in the King of the Mountains competition because he knows Berzan is leading that at the moment. The white jersey just gets a few points over there, so the difference won't be too much between these two riders. Maurizio Fondries looking very strong today.
So we've seen Clavarola go over the top first, followed by Farazin and Lauritsen. Best of the rest was Belli, followed by Fondries and Berzan. More points for the 6th place Berzan. Overall, Berzan is increasing his lead, 46 points now to Belli's 39. Phil Anderson is in 3rd place in the King of the Mountains competition. And now Moreno Argentine here, coming up to Max Chiandri. You know, I think he's apologising for what happened yesterday, if you're watching, when he attacked while some of the Motorola riders were behind the race, taking a natural break. Anyway, all friends again in the big peloton. Phil Anderson is on the front. Next stop now, we're heading on towards Evesham. And the 3 leaders are still clear. Remember that Thierry Clavarola, here he is in the centre of this group. Dag Otto Lauritsen setting the pace, and the man at the back is Peter Farazin. Now 5 minutes 26 seconds, that's the best gap we've had so far.
Well, it really is looking good for these riders. We come up to the next Ordnance Survey sprint. They're not actually contesting it because what they're interested in is building up a good breakaway over the rest of the field.
And the 3 riders that go across the line in that order. Lauritsen ahead of Clavarola and Farazin. And now they're heading off and away from Evesham, and it looks as though one rider has attacked. Dag Otto Lauritsen is going away from the other 2. Well, we're at 97 miles covered. He's gambling, Paul, of reaching the finishing circuit in Coventry and beating the race to the line. That's a tall order.
Well, it's a brave move, but the thing is, at this stage of the game, riders start to ride tactically, and it may well be the 2 behind won't try and chase him because they're thinking about the return of the peloton behind.
Well, there's a lot more serious action here now. This is Fondries going through. Phil Anderson is also sharing the work at the front, and behind him in the green is Vladimir Belli. The action is now on. That breakaway is being caught. And so this is Alan Piper. Perhaps he'll tell us what's going on.
Well, after such a long break, this gutsy Norwegian seen the futility of staying with the other 2 riders. He's attacked and got rid of them. The Motorola team is chasing, but Dag Otto Lauritsen used to be one of the Motorola team riders. I wonder if his friends are going to chase him down. We're coming into the final stages of this race. Let's hope the old fella can do it. In Australia, they call him the voice of cycling, and all over the world he's respected as one of the greatest sports commentators. Everybody makes mistakes. I know a few of you out there pick at him, but Phil Liggett is the man. He's the one who's made cycling so famous all around the world. It's his 50th birthday. Congratulations, Phil.
Well, on that note, I'd like to add my own personal birthday greetings, Phil. I really enjoyed the first half-century, and I'm looking forward to the next innings.
Well, thank you both very much indeed, and I thought I worked with a couple of friends. Let's go back to the Kellogg's Tour of Britain now. This is the main field. Remember, they're chasing down one man, Dag Otto Lauritsen, who's gone clear as they approach the city of Coventry. And this is a very daring escape, and if it succeeds, it'll be a very, very happy Dag Otto Lauritsen at the finish. The sun is shining now. Coventry is looking splendid, and the leader is now ahead by 57 seconds. It's touch and go.
It really is, because when they come round this finishing circuit in Coventry, the speed of the main field really is going to pick up, and I think the Lamprey team is the one that will try and pick up the speed, because they'd like to get Jans Verada up there for the bunch sprint. But Lauritsen won a stage like this in the Tour of Spain this year, and if he can just hold on, it would be a superb victory, but it's going to be tight.
First time through the Ordnance Survey sprint, no doubt who the winner is of that, and the crowd welcoming Dag Otto Lauritsen. And now he faces 3 5-kilometre or 3 3-mile circuits, if you prefer, around the city. The city is shut down for the arrival of the Kellogg's Tour, and this is the chase back being led by the Banana team.
Well, that's Keith Reynolds on the front there, trying to lead them out. I think what he wants to do is get Chris Lillywhite up there for the Ordnance Survey sprint when we come up to the line. Lillywhite in the lilac jersey there in third place will try and get some points in this competition, which he's leading at the moment.
And Reynolds goes on the right, but in fact that's Jesper Skibby who's got Lillywhite on his wheel. Lillywhite coming through, and I think he's pipped by Jesper Skibby there. But Lillywhite will keep his lead in the competition. Lauritsen, Skibby and Lillywhite was the order over the line. But the overall situation at the end of the third day, Lillywhite leading by just 2 points now from Dag Otto Lauritsen. And that's because Lauritsen has been out on the attack all day today. And now can he finish it off with a great win? Because he is such he has such a tenuous lead here, Paul, over the field.
Well, the real thing is now that everyone is starting to attack at the back, and this looks like it's John Tanner from the Nielsen Tivoli team. In fact, it is Tanner going clear there, and all these attacks will eat into the breakaway that Lauritsen has got there. But if he can just keep going, he may well hold on, because these riders here are accelerating and slowing down again, but Lauritsen is moving at a constant speed.
And John Tanner here has been caught again by the TVM riders. They're trying desperately to slow down the impetus of this field. Here's Jesper Skibby on the left of the picture as well, almost inviting somebody to dare to come past him. Lauritsen is holding on to his lead. Latest time check, 55 seconds. He has lost only a couple of seconds.
Well, that's a great job that's being done by his teammates, the TVM riders at the front. Jesper Skibby will use all these corners in the streets of Coventry to slow down the main field. They'll cram up at the front to disorganise the chase by any of the other teams, and it may well be that Lauritsen can just hang on.
End of the first of the 3 circuits. He's still out there. The crowd are loving this now. Here as we come down Little Park Street with the beautiful cathedral over to Lauritsen's left there now. And Dag Otto must be now feeling he has a chance. He's 2 full circuits to go.
He's got 2 full circuits. There's a lot of long straights out there, and it's very, very windy, but each time they come into the town centre and they go round the corners there, his teammates will be doing their job at the front.
And this again is Keith Reynolds, got himself to the front of the group, but marshalled once more by the riders from TVM. But the chase cannot be contained much longer now. They must be sensing they can pull him back in. It's a long, long time, Paul, since I've seen a rider hang just out front and not be brought back into the fold.
Well, it really is. He's done a great job, but the thing is his teammate are doing a fantastic job at the back as well. But I hope he can hang on, because he's done a fantastic ride. It was an extremely courageous move to jump away from these 2 other teammates, his 2 other companions there.
It was a big gamble indeed. They thought, in fact, that they were being caught. They dropped back into the field, Claverola and Farah's in, and they left him out front. 48 seconds now, it's coming down, but is it quick enough?
Well, I think if he can go over the finish line with a good 30 seconds lead, he has a chance to move clear and stay away for the final victory.
And an attack now from Vladislav Bobrik, the former Soviet rider who I saw once lead the Tour de Trump in the United States when he was a young amateur against the professional riders. Now he's a professional rider himself, and again, Paul, quickly marshalled by TVM.
They're doing a great job there. Every time somebody moves, they're on him, and every time they go around the corner, they'll slow it down a little bit, and you can see Bobrik realises that it's futile, and then there is Johan Capio up there as well. They're all doing a fantastic job. For Lauritsen at the front, there's the bell. He's got 1 lap to go.
They are 1 circuit left for Dag Otto. I cannot believe he dreamt he was going to hold them off for 3 laps of Coventry. Now he's into the final lap. And ironically, the Motorola team here too is also not chasing their former team man, because they want him to take the small win bonus that could affect Phil Anderson.
Well, there's 10 seconds on the line, but look at the face of Dag Otto Lauritsen here. It's not a sign of a man who's cracking up. He's forcing it all the way to the line. He knows now that he's just got less than 5 kilometres to go, less than 7 minutes of pain, and the bunch is speeding up down the finishing straight now with 1 lap to go too.
So there's the bell for the main field. He must be feeling confident. Let's see what it is. 1 minute and 9 seconds. I can't believe it, but the time has actually gone up on that previous lap.
Well, that's incredible. That's the effort that Lauritsen's putting in at the moment. The team manager's coming alongside here to let him know that the time has gone up. Lauritsen must feel now that he's got victory in his grasp. He's just got to get round a few more corners, and he's going to take an incredible stage victory.
Well, I would think that the manager there, Walter Verlee, must also be wondering, because really he could not have anticipated this rider would have held on. He came into Coventry with less than a minute, and he's now pushed that up to a fraction over a minute. But now surely they're going to come at him thick and fast. Wanderlei Magalhaes from the Lotto team, a new professional, goes clear.
Everybody's having a try at the front, but really it must appear to me that Lauritsen is moving clear all the time. You see they're just letting the riders go away one at a time. The Motorola team want to let those time bonuses go because Anderson still only has a 4-second lead over Belly in the overall standings.
And the first 3 riders today will receive small bonuses of 10, 6 and 4 seconds. That's what's important to Phil Anderson. He wants to ease riders off the front. What an irony, because a year ago that this rider was on the Motorola team and they kicked him off it, and now he's going to win the stage because he's up to the home straight for the last time. Now this is going to be a victory salute to cherish, because Dag Otto Lauritsen has done it. This has been the great escape of the race. Dag Otto Lauritsen in the lead for more than 100 miles. Let's join him talking to Paul Sherwin.
Well, Dag, that was a very brave move there. The time gap was coming down all the time, and then you decided you'd have a go on your own.
Yeah, you know, we were 3 guys and we was working good together, but when the time was coming down to 1.5 minutes, nobody really wanted to work, so I thought I can do much faster alone. And I knew the first guy who would go away would get away, so I tried my first chance, and I'm very happy I made it.
I bet you are. This is now the sprint for second place, and some 40 seconds has ticked by as the riders line up for the home sprint here. And this looks to me as though we've got a rider, Jan Zverada from the Lampert team. He's coming through, and it's going to be a good sprint by Jan. He wears the jersey of the under-24 leader, and he gets second place on the line, and that was a good finish for him. In third place was Eddie Schurer. And what a great feeling for Dag Otto Lauritsen. He took the gamble just outside of Coventry, and it paid off for his 3rd victory of the season. Lauritsen finishing 47 seconds ahead of Jan Zverada. In 3rd place, Eddie Schurer. 4th was Cesare Samana, and 5th, the British rider Chris Lillywhite. Phil Anderson finished in 14th place. On the podium tonight, Dag Otto Lauritsen. He was a member of the Motorola team a year ago. Now he salutes them as a rival of the TVM squad. Overall, though, it is Motorola still on top. Phil Anderson holding on to that 4 seconds lead ahead of Vladimir Belly. 8 seconds back is Bo-Andre Numvet. 4th is Heinz Imbuden. 5th, Francois Le Marchand. As a result of his victory, Dag Otto Lauritsen moves up to 12th place, but still 9 minutes and 18 seconds back.
Well, Phil, that was a hard stage today, but you seem to come out on top.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was very tough. It was tailwind, so as I expected, it was very fast. But you know, my team was never really stressed too much. We had control of the race, and it was good for us. There was always riders in front, the way it was.
You know, you weren't too worried about the riders that got away today, then?
No, there were riders who were quite a bit of time behind, so we left them out there, and you know, we saw some of Fondrias's team come up there and ride a bit of tempo, and you know, that helped us quite a bit.
So after 3 days of the Kellogg's Tour of Britain, Phil Anderson still holds on to the leader's yellow jersey as a result of winning the first stage into Bath on Monday. Tomorrow the riders will move across to Birmingham for the restart, stage 4, taking them 113 miles across the mountains of the northwest to Albert Square in Manchester. If you can't be with us on the road, then join us tomorrow night here on Channel 4 at 8:30. Until then, from Coventry, goodbye.